Welcome to the 5 questions you need to ask your prospect before you even think of meeting. And I emphasize the word think, and you'll see why in a few minutes. I'm Rhonda Page, and I'm going to tell you about me in a few minutes, but first let's make sure you're in the right place, and this webinar is for you. You may be the owner of a design or branding firm and have a staff. You've been in the business a long time and you're feeling the changes in the industry. The referrals are not coming in the way they used to and sales are down. Or you may have been working in the business for different firms for a long time and you've decided to go out on your own. Getting business is actually much tougher than you thought it would be. You hate sales, and you've kind of bitten your lip and started cold calling. You leave a lot of messages and people don't return the calls. It's disheartening and you need some new ideas. You may be a freelancer working on your own and you'd like more steady work and recurring revenue. Or you may be the business development person at a firm and you're finding business development a struggle. The firm owners keep telling you to keep making more calls and getting them meetings, but it's really slow going, and you're finding that most meetings aren't amounting to much. My intention in this webinar is to give you some new things to consider before you go racing out the door to meet that potential client and waste a lot of time chasing after clients that are not a good fit for your business. So first I'll take a couple of minutes to talk about myself and how I got here so you'll have some context. I know you're in front of your computers and I want you to shut down Facebook and any other distractions. I recommend that you stay very present for this. I'm going to share some very important concepts and you're going to leave with new insights and tools that you can start practicing immediately to improve your business. So, about me. This is me. I'm a designer at heart. I studied design at Parsons School of Design in New York, and my first mentor was the world-renowned April Greiman in Los Angeles. I have worked every aspect of the business, starting designer, account director, brand strategist, and I did business development throughout for all the firms I worked at. My experience in sales began at the age of 12 when I won the Girl Scout cookie selling competition by selling 80 boxes to my grandmother. Even back then, I knew how to identify and close my perfect customer. At the ripe old age of 26, I started my own design firm with a partner. We lasted 4 years until I had my first child and realized I couldn't do it all and be a mom too. I decided to send out letters to a number of firms and told them I had my own business and was ready for a new opportunity, and I was hired by Michel Viau at Ove Design in Toronto. Michel said that I could do creative direction and business development for him. I said, sure. After all, he offered me a hefty $25,000 base salary plus commission, which seemed very attractive after having had my own business for 4 years. My little secret is I actually had no idea what he meant by business development at the time. I just thought I'd figure it out. He gave me his mailing list of about 800 names and told me to call them and get some business. And I did. I actually landed a few projects, even some annual reports. So this was business development, and I got good at it. In my best year, I brought over $1 million in new business to the firm. They even told me to slow down because they couldn't keep up with the growth. I've helped land hundreds of thousands of dollars in new business for many design firms. I've landed big CPGs like Kraft and Coca-Cola, many annual reports back in the day, large identity projects, and I have a list of Fortune 500 companies I've worked with. I've also done 2 stints on the client side as a marketing director. So fast forward to 2008. I was working at Dossier Creative in Vancouver, great firm. I was a brand strategist working on great projects and facilitating branding workshops, and things were going along great until the financial crisis began. The firm had cash flow issues and had to cut me to half-time. and I freaked. I was driving along in Vancouver and was kind of surprised by the whole thing. But once I calmed down, I thought about the people who had small businesses who had been coming to me for help over the years. They wanted me to teach them what I learned from big business. And I decided at that moment that it was time to start a business helping small businesses focus on differentiation. And I called it Know Your Difference. Well, as soon as I put the word out, I got busy. I had clients coming out of the woodwork. It was very exciting as I saw the need for my services, but I had no clue what to charge. I knew that small businesses didn't have a lot of money, so I started charging $800 to take them through my 6-step branding process over a 6-week period. No wonder I had a ton of clients. I was meeting with them in person, spending time preparing, doing work for them, basically burning myself out. I must have had 50 clients the first year and didn't really make a lot of money. I was giving tremendous value to others while shortchanging myself. So let me ask you this: where are you providing a lot of value but shortchanging yourself? Something to ponder as we go along here. So what happened next was I came up with a range of offers starting at $800 and going to $15,000. So people could come in at different levels, and the more they got of me, the more they paid. So I started to get some bigger projects and got busy making money. Interestingly, once I changed my business model, I got a client, Diane, who spent $25,000 with me. We started with stakeholder interviews. We found out that the name of her company wasn't at all resonating with her audience, which I kind of knew, but stakeholder interviews validated that. Spoke to a whole bunch of CEOs. She was a consultant to corporations, to CEOs specifically. Anyway, we rebranded her, new website, new name, everything new, new message, and her sales actually went from $600,000 to $1.2 million within the first year. She doubled her sales. I also have experience working on the client side. For 3 years, I worked with my significant other to restructure and reposition his food company, St. Andrew Poultry. I had many hats. I worked on staffing, human resources, funding, operations, sales, and marketing. I started a catering division and within a month had orders from several large law firms in downtown Toronto. So I warned people that if they're going to put me on business development, they better be ready for it because they're gonna get business. My experience working in business has given me a good understanding of what it takes to be successful, which is something that I think many creative people don't understand. My client-side experience has also given me a lot of insights about how clients think because I've been the one hiring and managing the design firm. So that's my story. Now let's get to the meat. There was a handout, so make sure that you have that, and you can also jot down some notes while I'm talking. The 5 questions are listed in the handout, so you want to make sure to get your hands on that if you haven't already. What I'm going to talk about will transform your business and boost your confidence. The people I've taught this to are using the strategies every day, and it's making a huge difference. You're going to start saving a lot of time and energy on running around to meetings and writing proposals. I'm going to tell you as much as I can in this webinar, and at the end I'll tell you how to work with me and continue taking this deeper if it makes sense for you right now. I know so well working away and getting that call from the potential client, and all you want to do is set up the meeting. You meet with the prospect, show samples of your work, and they ask for a proposal. You spend hours on the proposal. You submit it, and then you wait. And you don't hear back. So you follow up with a call, and still get no call back. And then finally, a few weeks later, you find out. We've decided to work with another firm. Or the department head didn't approve the budget. Or the project has been put on hold. Or we've decided to do it in-house. So to avoid all this heartache, I'm going to give you 5 questions to ask before you even think, and I mean think, about setting up that first meeting. Before I give you the 5 questions, I want to talk about bringing a whole new kind of energy to the sales process. When I first learned about sales in the early 90s, it was very different. The energy was much more adversarial, me on one side, them on the other. Now I look at it as more of a partnership. I'm partnering with the other person to help them achieve a particular goal or solve a problem. When I started in sales, the goal was to get them to work with our firm no matter what. Now my goal is to see if we're a match to work together. It's more about alignment. When I started in sales, I did all the talking about how great our firm is and showing slides of our beautiful work and all the wonderful credentials and awards, and now I do all the listening and let them talk. The other thing I want to say is just because it's always been done a certain way doesn't mean it still works. It's surprising to me how the design industry has stayed the same in many ways when absolutely everything else has changed. So just consider that. So you're going about your day and you get that call from the person you met at a networking event last week, and here's often how it goes. Hi Rhonda, this is Sally Smith from ABC Company. We'd like to get a quote for some branding work. In the past, I'd say, okay, when would you like to meet? Then I would drag the owner of my firm, driving 45 minutes to an hour in traffic, parking, spending an hour and a half with the client, and by the time we get back to the office, it was a half-day affair. But the good news was they asked for a proposal. Or was it good news? Now I handle the same call very differently. My goal is to make a connection, have a meaningful conversation, help them in achieving their goal, and see if we're aligned to work together on the project. So I let go of any attachment to getting the work. This takes a tremendous amount of stress off me, and I think it changes the whole energy of the conversation. So going back to the conversation, Sally has called me and said she'd like to get a quote on some branding work. This statement leaves many holes to be filled in. I don't know who she is. I don't know her position in the company. I don't know if she's an admin or she could be the CEO. So I'm going to have a conversation and ask a series of powerful questions that will reveal all sorts of information. And this will also give her a lot of clarity on what she's looking for. The other thing I want to point out is I no longer have a game face. I'm very comfortable in my own shoes, and I can be very real and human with the other person. This is big, and it takes work to get to this point, but it also completely changes the energy of the relationship. What I mean by game face is the act we put on to seem professional or confident, to be perceived in a certain way. For example, I started a catering company last year, as I mentioned. I have no experience in catering, but I did have an incredible chef and team of experienced cooks, so I just started to call up law firms. I told them that I was new at this. I didn't really know what I was doing, but could I ask a few questions? They generously said yes. And guess what? They ended up also ordering catering. I think people really appreciate real. There's no pretense or show with me, and this makes for an even stronger connection. I'm telling you, this totally changes the sales process. So here's how I would respond to Sally now. Sally, I'm so glad you called. There are some things I'd like to know about the project, and then let's see if we want to meet. So, question 1. How did this project come about, or what prompted this project? You're asking for them for the story behind the project, how they got to where they are now. What series of events led up to the project? How did the decision come about to do this project? You want the inside scoop. You may hear how another firm completely screwed up their website, they've used up most of their budget, and they're wondering if you can save it, or a whole host of other stories. You want to know what you're dealing with and then make a decision whether you want to take it further from an informed place. Do you want to find out this information after you've gone to 2 meetings and spent 30 hours on your proposal? I don't think so. Question 2. Who are all the people that need to say yes to go forward with this? In other words, who are the decision makers? You want to know what Sally's role is in this project. Is she admin assistant or is she VP of marketing? Find out who the decision makers are. It's even a good idea to push to meet with the group, but sometimes not possible. But you do want to know that decision makers are in the loop. I've gone way down this path and found out at the 11th hour that it wasn't approved by a decision maker. So don't be afraid to ask lots of questions until you're confident that it's a good fit. Do a gut check here. Your gut may be screaming, walk away from this one, and often you don't listen. And you know what I mean. Question 3. Can you give me an idea of budget? Gulp. You're probably thinking, there's no way they're going to tell me. This is a tough question to ask. They won't often answer it, or they'll say, I'm not sure. But the question prompts the money conversation. This is so important. So sometimes they'll say, not sure, what would you charge for this? This is a great opportunity for you. You can give them a big ballpark range. You're looking at anywhere between $10,000 and $25,000 for a basic identity program for a small company. Now, just be quiet and wait for a reaction. This can seem like torture, but honestly, it can save you hundreds of hours. They may say, okay, sounds great. Or they may say, well, that wasn't really what we had in mind. We were thinking of more like $2,500. You know immediately that you are not aligned to work together. How great would it be to have this information up front before you go to a meeting or spend time on a proposal? And whatever you do, don't panic for the work and say, oh, I guess we can do something for $2,500. You may say, Sally, I don't think we're aligned to work together. I'd be happy to refer you to someone who can do a good job for that price. Remember, it's about a good match. Question 4. Assuming you get past question 3 and things are looking good, how serious are you about moving forward with this project? Another key question. The response might be, well, we're launching the new brand in the next quarter, so we're very serious. We'd like to move forward as soon as possible, and we're planning to make a decision in the next 3 weeks. Or you may hear, I'm not really sure. My boss asked me to get some quotes. Which one would you spend an hour in traffic for? If you get an answer like the second one, ask more questions. This may feel uncomfortable, but you're actually helping them get more clear so they can do a better job at their job. Keep asking questions till you're really clear about what's going on. You may ask them to get more details and get back to you before you make a decision. Look, Sally, I'd really like to help you get some clarity on this project. From what I'm hearing, I'm not clear on your objectives or your timeline. Can we reconnect in a day or two when you have more information? Again, don't be attached here. You want to feel confident that you're helping them and that you're aligned to work together. Set up another call. Make her accountable to you, and you're already helping. Question 5. Who else are you talking to? Often they won't answer this one either. I'm sure that's what you're thinking. Sometimes they will, and this gives you lots of information. But the key here is to find out how many others they're talking to. The standard from my experience is 3 in total. If they're talking to 10 firms, I don't think you want to be involved in that. It's a red flag for me about what they'd be like to work together. They may need to see 50 concepts before making a decision. There's lots of reading between the lines here, and you really need to put on your intuition hat and pay attention to your gut. So these are the 5 questions you need to ask before you even think about meeting a prospect. And I hope you'll start using them right away. Business development can be the biggest challenge for design and branding firms, but it doesn't need to be. When you use these strategies, sales become easier and even fun because you're meeting new people, making a connection, and you're not so attached to the outcome. Remember to do more listening than talking. I don't want you giving your mini credentials presentation and talking about how many awards your firm won this year. I want you to have real and meaningful discussions. And when you're talking, it's more about how you solved a similar problem for someone else and what the results for them were. For example, when my client Diane launched her new identity, she doubled her sales in the first year because people understood what she does and how she's different. This is a very different way of doing business development. You want all the facts before you meet. You may feel your stomach churning when the call or the meeting starts to go in a direction you don't want because you know in your gut that you need to take a pass. But taking a pass is not always a bad thing. If you need to walk away, and I talk about this a lot in the Business Development Breakthrough, taking a pass leaves open space energetically for the right work to come your way. If you're busy with energy-draining, bad-paying clients, and there's no space for the good ones just won't show up. I've had direct experience with this. A few years ago, I passed on a $5,000 project that I thought would be draining and just not worth it. It was a bit gut-wrenching the first time I did it, but guess what happened? A week later, I got a $25,000 project that was totally perfect for me. So 3 key takeaways from this webinar. Bring a new kind of energy to business development. Take your game face off and practice the 5 questions. It's going to take you some time to get used to them, but the more you practice them, the more comfortable they'll be, and you'll start to really see results. I hope what I've given you here will solve some major business development challenges for you. There are other pieces to the puzzle, like how to stand out in a crowded market, how to fill your funnel and get prospects actually contacting you, how to handle meetings so that they're more productive and not a waste of time, how to spend a lot less time on proposals, and how to get paid up front without all the stress and awkwardness. Our industry has changed and there's lots of confusion about which direction to go. These are a few of the things we'll deal with in the Business Development Breakthrough. At the beginning I told you I would talk about the program a little bit, so I'll take a couple of minutes, and there's a special offer for people on the webinar. I've been hearing from people all over the world in our industry, and everyone is saying the exact same thing. The business development has been such a challenge for the last several years. The program is helping designers all over the world get new business, better business, and longer-term business. The first thing we're going to do is show you how to differentiate. The market has just become so crowded, and clients can't tell the difference between one firm and another. The second thing we're going to do is get you a message that draws prospects' attention to you. And I'm going to show you how to find out what that message is. You're going to start to market your business so that prospects start to come to you. That's a new concept. When I started doing business development back in 1993, cold calling worked. People actually answered the phone. Today they don't. Many don't even use their office phones at all, and they do everything on their smartphone. Even in 2007, cold emailing worked. Now that no longer works because of all the spam filters. So you're not going to do any more cold calling, cold emailing, or cold anything. I'm going to show you a different way. Once you're getting more prospects in the pipeline, the program will teach you a proposal process where you spend way less time and increase your chances of winning the work by a lot. The process is collaborative, so it's really different from what you're used to. The program will also teach you how clients think, so you can start to speak to them in a whole different way and become more of a strategic partner rather than a supplier. And when you do this, they'll only want to work with you, and you'll get way more work from clients that you love. The simple truth is, design firms need to reinvent themselves and do things very differently. The Business Development Breakthrough is a combination of 8 90-minute group coaching calls, 4 online learning modules, and membership to a global community of people in our industry. Coaching calls happen every 2 weeks, and as I said, there are 8 in total, and we're going to do them on Google Hangouts. These calls will keep you motivated and accountable. You'll get to know others in the group, and you'll have a good sounding board for ideas and support. You'll have the opportunity to send me your questions before we meet, and we'll spend up to 10 minutes brainstorming ideas for your business. So you'll get everyone's input. One client said it's like having your own personal advisory board. This is what the Online Learning Center looks like. So over here is all the program modules. It starts with an orientation, and then there's clarity on your perfect client, marketing and making connections, closing the business, getting more work from the clients you have, and a graduation module. So we're in module 1 right now, clarity on your perfect client, and everything is here. I'll just scroll down a bit. All you have to do is follow the numbered instructions. Listen to the welcome message by Rhonda, click here to download the Visioning Action Guide, and so on. So it's all here. There's also some bonus resources, some inspirational audios, and some books that I recommend in each module. And I'll just uncheck these to show you how it works. But as you do each step, this is called the progress checklist, and as you do each step, for example, listen to the welcome message by Rhonda, and then I go over here, I have listened to the welcome message from Rhonda, and I just check it off. And once you've checked off each one, you're ready to progress to the next module. Up here it says you can now access the next module. So it's very straightforward, very user-friendly, and full of information that's extremely useful for you. I also want to mention that each module has a workbook, an audio recording, and also scripts and templates that you can use. For example, there's a marketing plan template, there's a website planning template, there's a budgeting template, and there's also a business development tracking sheet, and much more. We also have a private Facebook group where you'll be able to get ideas and advice from people in the business at different levels of experience from all over the world. For example, you can post your new website and get feedback from the group. You can ask questions, you can look for resources, or you can find out how to deal with specific client-related issues. It's a generous and supportive community, and it will help you keep up with trends in the industry as well. So are you in? Let's talk about the investment. I bet if I told you it was going to cost you $12 a day, you'd sign up right away, correct? Here's the scoop. The regular price is $19.97. I love to reward fast action, and I find that the people who take action have the greatest success. So if you register in the next 24 hours, you're going to get it for $14.97. That's a $500 savings, and it works out to $12 a day over the 4 months of the program. That's your 2 Starbucks lattes in the next 4 months. So you could cut your 2 Starbucks lattes and join the program for $12 a day. Imagine more business, better clients, more money, and being part of a supportive community for $12 a day. How does it get any better than this? Also, it's the only program on the market that caters 100% to the design and branding community. And to make it even easier, There's a payment plan available, so you can pay monthly in installments. Here's what Katie Osborne of Via Collective in Brooklyn had to say about the program. Rhonda's tools have completely changed my business. I now spend half the time on proposals and get more work. My business has exploded as a result of the Business Development Breakthrough Program, and she is the owner of a small signage and wayfinding firm. After you register, you'll be sent to a page where you set up your online account, and you'll get access to the Online Learning Center and all the program information, call dates, call numbers, and everything is there. So, in summary, by registering for the Business Development Breakthrough, you will have the tools to get more business more easily, have more fun in your business, and reach your financial goals. And all this will cost you $12 a day over the next 4 months. If you want to do the program but want to talk to me first to make sure it's right for you, just email me at rhonda@rhondapage.com and we'll set up a time to talk and help you decide. So that's all for today. I'm excited that you now have the tools to start pre-qualifying prospects before you meet. So start using them right away, and let's see what else is possible for you.